This is Trinesha Catrell, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we're going to talk about you. Is it you? But before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more uplifting content like this. So get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. So what made me think about is it you is sometimes in life we like to point fingers at other people and play the blame game and say, oh, this is because of this person. If this person hadn't done this, then I wouldn't have done that. We like to shift the blame and just like accuse or point the finger at other people and just make it seem like it's a them thing instead of taking responsibility for our own actions. And sometimes it's difficult because it's easier to think of someone else as a villain than to think of yourself as making mistakes. But with maturity, with emotional intelligence, you start to become more emotionally intelligent, more mature, and accept responsibility and take accountability for your own actions. I had 3 things that I think are important to understanding if it's you and learning how to be more emotionally intelligent and mature in your life. The first thing is to know that you have the choice to think negative or positive about a person. Sometimes, they'll say you have a common enemy, and you might say, well, this person does this person does that. And if another person agrees with you, you feel like, oh, you're just going to think negatively of this person. You're just going to put them in a box and say, they only do bad. This is all the things that they do. And I read something in a book once that said something like, you have the choice to think negatively or positively about someone else. Just as easily as you could say, they always do this, they always do that. You could easily say, they're always trying. They're not perfect, they're human. You can acknowledge them for who they are and know that that's the type of person that they are without constantly spewing negativity about that person. Sometimes it could be an insecurity thing. And I'm not trying to step on people's toes, but sometimes when you feel like you can say something negative about someone else, it takes the spotlight off of yourself and you don't have to really deal with your internal issues. It's easier to just say someone else is doing all of these things imperfect instead of saying we're all human, we all make mistakes. Instead of thinking, okay, I have standards and boundaries for my life. If they don't align with them, then I can move on with my life. You don't really have to give that much energy to a person. And instead of like thinking worst case scenario with every person that you meet, how about giving some people the benefit of the doubt because they're human just like you? Just like you're not perfect, just like you don't do everything right, this person also may not do things right because they're human as well. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to fail just like you. They're going to have missteps and mistakes just like you. It's important for us to be compassionate and understanding about other people. And I always have to say this disclaimer. Do not become a doormat for people. That is not an excuse for you to let people walk all over you. That is just a moment for you to take accountability for your actions and to give people, one, the benefit of the doubt in good situations, not in all situations or all scenarios, and to also acknowledge the fact that you have the choice to think positively about this person. You know who they are. If there's someone who is toxic for your life, someone that's not healthy, then you know what you have to do. You have to make sure that your mental health is good. You have to make sure you're doing the right things so that you can keep yourself good. You can keep your mental sanity so that you can be the person that God intended for you to be. And you can do that by making an educated guess or a decision to choose to keep this person in your life or to not keep them in your life, to think positively or negatively about them. People will always have an opinion about you. I had one person say to me one day something. They said, oh, you just think you're all that. I'm going to say it like Pastor Mike Jr. said it in one of his sermons. Thank you. I accept that because I'm trying to get all the blessings. I want all of that. You know what I'm saying? And so you really have to flip it and just acknowledge your strengths. When people say, oh, you think you know everything. No, I don't know everything, but I'm well educated. I accept that. I'm trying to constantly educate myself and be better. So you have the choice to decide if you're going to make this thing, this statement, this whatever someone says about you, a negative thing or positive, if you're going to think positively or negatively about another person. The second thing is accountability. Like I said, it's easy to point the finger at somebody else, but it takes real maturity to say, I messed up here. I was just too judgmental in the situation. I really gave this person a really hard time and they didn't deserve it. I really wasn't healed in this area. And so I was punishing this person for something that I've been through instead of acknowledging the fact that this person's actually trying. I was the person who, and it's really good when you can say I statements when you're taking accountability instead of saying you did this. You are the person. You're the reason why. If it wasn't for you, you're the one that made me do this. And you see this a lot with like kids and their parents or people and family members or friends or whatever else. They'll say, if I was raised this way, I would be a millionaire. No, you could still be a millionaire. None of those things are stopping you from advancing in your life. That's an excuse. And I'm not saying it to negate your childhood or any of the past things that you've been through because they're real and it really did hurt. But there comes a time in your life where you have to take accountability and say, okay, that happened to me in the past, but now my future is about to be different. Now I'm going to do things differently. I understand that I was taking things out on this new person because of old past relationship trauma or whatever else, but that person is not that person. They are now a new person. You have to acknowledge what it is that they're doing and give them the accolades for the things that they're actually trying to do instead of comparing them to someone who you used to be with, instead of thinking they're going to be just like the old person. You have to really take them for who they are. And am I saying that everybody deserves a chance? Absolutely not. I'm saying that you got to really take accountability for your actions and acknowledge when people are different people. You got to acknowledge and take responsibility so you can move forward in your life so that you could be better, so that you could do better in life and you can be the person that you're supposed to be. You cannot grow, you cannot advance if you're constantly blaming somebody else for something. I know for me, I was stagnant in my life for a really long time. I didn't start to do better or to grow or learn more until I took the time to really take accountability for my actions. When I finally said, okay, because I did this, I chose to stay in a relationship. I'm the person who is deciding to do whatever decision or choice that I'm making in my life right now. It's nobody else's problem or responsibility. I can't blame somebody else for the choices I'm making now. Now it's on me. I have to choose to do better. I have to use those old past things as fuel. I have to take the lesson from it because it's not a loss. Everything that you go through in life is a lesson to teach you to be better. So use it as a lesson and be better. The third thing is patience. It is so easy to just be like, I want this person to do this right now. I don't want to wait a week. I don't want to wait 2 weeks. I don't want to wait a day. I want them to immediately do something that I want them to do. You can't control anybody else but yourself. Sometimes we forget that and we feel like we can't be patient with people. We can't give them grace. We really want to hold them to a higher standard than we hold ourselves. You see this a lot in relationships. People will say, I want a man that's 6 foot with six figures. And it's like, or in a six pack with whatever else the other things are that people are criteria that people are always asking for. Right. And no patience for the man that God has for you. No patience for accepting something that is actually beneficial for you. That's something that you actually need, not just a preference or something that you want. We see this a lot in people who want to get promoted or want their business to grow overnight. And sometimes that does happen. It's the exception to the rule, but that isn't an often thing. Usually it's not an overnight thing. Usually it's a process. Usually people are constantly working at their business. They're working at things to advance in life so that they could become better and do more. And for me, I feel like I'm learning so much on the journey. Like, thank God my business didn't just blow up overnight. Thank God I had to go through the journey and learn different things, learn the mistakes that I'm making and take a lesson from it so I can grow and be better and do things better in my business. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have learned anything. Sometimes life is there to teach you things along the way, and the journey is the best process. You meet people on the journey. You go different places on the journey. You enter new environments on the journey. And without the journey, it wouldn't make you a better person. It wouldn't build you up to be who you're supposed to be. That journey is so necessary. And sometimes we want to be impatient and rush the process. We want to rush into relationships, into marriage, into our business blowing up, into all of these things in life when patience is key. Patience is so necessary so that you can get the fruits of your labor without it being something that's going to come back to bite you in the behind. So it's important for us to really learn how to be patient. Be patient with people, because the same grace that you want people to give you is the same grace that you should give another person. The same patience that you would want to be able to grow the right way, it's the same way that you have to do that with business, with every area of your life. You have to be willing to be patient so that when you do get the things, it's so much better when you have worked for it. It's so much better when you have actually been on a journey to get it. Because can you imagine if someone just handed you something without you having to work for it? It's not as satisfactory. You don't get to. It's not as enjoyable as it is when you're on a journey to receive something, because you know you worked for it. You know that you put in that work, so it's so important for you to just think positively about others. And I'm not saying you just have to be a doormat or just only think of giving people the benefit of the doubt. But instead of only talking negatively about people, take a moment and just think of something positive about every person in your life. Just do that. See how it changes your life. Take accountability for your actions. Know that it's not always somebody else's fault. Sometimes you are being lazy in this area. Sometimes you are not working as hard as you should be at work and your business, whatever else, and you're being lackful. You're being lackadaisy instead of actually putting forth an effort. So you have to take accountability for your actions to know that you're going to do better in the future. And have patience. Give people the same grace that you want people to give you, because it's so necessary. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.